Hello, my name is Sophie. I'm recording my journey as a carer for two people. Well, my two parents have a form of dementia. Um, I started this channel a few days ago and I'm going to try and record a little video every day. So I've told you a little bit more about my parents, the situation, and myself. And now I just wanted to jump in today into what the situation is just right now. So at the moment, I'm going through quite a rough time because 2 weeks ago exactly, my father had a fall. They believe he had an epileptic seizure. And I went to his place on Easter Monday to check up on him, see how he was. I opened the door and I found him on the floor. He was unresponsive and he was conscious. He could, but he wasn't responding to anything I was saying. So I, of course, called for an ambulance straight away and we were rushed to hospital to the emergency department. And they've kept him until now. He's much better. They, as I say, think he had an epileptic seizure, which he'd never had before, so it was quite unexpected and quite surprising. And they've been looking after him um, for the past 2 weeks. What I wanted to share is that everybody, well, many people have said, oh, you must be so relieved he's in hospital, it's less work for you. Well, as a carer, maybe some of you can relate, but actually, it's not really easier for me to have him in hospital. Yes, he's being supervised, that's true, day and night, which he doesn't have at home. But the hospital is not close to where I live. So I go and see him every other day, more or less, and that takes up a lot of my time, a lot more than when he lives just across the road. Um, I'm having to worry quite a lot about the medical team and what they understand about my dad. They don't know my dad, they don't know his issues. And of course, I've explained the whole stuff to them, but um, they don't always seem to quite get what I'm talking about. I'm not quite sure if they don't believe me, if they're just not listening. We don't know. Anyway, the first 10 days of my dad's stay in hospital, he could not walk, and we kept saying this is really not normal. My dad can walk normally. Um, and they eventually had a look at his x-ray and decided that he had a slight spinal fracture, which of course explained why he couldn't walk. But it took them a long time, quite a few days, before they really truly listened to us. I got the feeling very strongly that they just decided that this man was old anyway and that he couldn't really walk properly anyway in the first place, so that this wasn't really an injury. There's similar issues with his confusion. When my dad was first hospitalized, I said he has moments of confusion. But as the days went by, he was very, very, very confused and really very confused. His speech was sort of, it made sense if you took little bits of his speech, but if you put everything together, it didn't really make sense. It was like one hugely long sentence that didn't really make much sense at all. And I kept saying, this is not the way my dad is normally. And again, I got the feeling that the medical team didn't really take that very seriously. My feeling was the medical team thought this man is old and he's got a form of dementia, and He's a bit of a senile old man, and I kept saying, normally he's not that confused. He has a lot of moments where he's actually quite coherent in what he says. And finally, last Thursday, when I was in hospital, I was in tears and I saw there was a change of team and there was a new doctor looking after my dad. And I again insisted, I said, look, something is going on. This is not the way my father is normally. This doctor sort of took this seriously and they found out that my dad was fairly severely dehydrated. They hydrated him, and since then he's miraculously changed. He's much more coherent and he's much more back to normal, which carries another set of challenges, but I won't bore you with those details just today. But I guess the point I'm trying to make in this video is it's hard when you are a carer for someone who has a form of dementia, because of course they have moments where they are confused and when they are disorientated, and of course depending on the stage they are in their dementia, they are more or less like that. um but as a carer, it's so it I feel it really falls on my shoulders to give an accurate picture of my father to the medical team, and I am the one who knows him best, and my sister as well, of course. And as such, I know what is a normal amount of confusion and what is an abnormal amount of confusion. And sometimes I get the feeling that the medical team just does not take us seriously, does not really believe us, which is incredibly frustrating because it's hard enough having a parent who is suffering, having a parent who has dementia, having a parent who can, yeah, who has a great deal of confusion. It's even harder when people around don't quite seem to be listening. So in our case just now, this time, I'm very glad that they did finally listen. I'm very glad that my father is better. He is still in hospital. We don't quite know what's going to happen next. Most certainly, he's going to be transferred to a sort of rehabilitation center where they're going to try and get him to walk better again because he has big trouble walking. So we're taking it day by day, but I'll stop for today. This is what I wanted to share with you today. Bye for now.